So today we are going to discussing mainly interview questions. So React.js, even I'm going to sharing some PDF documents, but interview questions we are going to discussing quickly some of the interview questions. After that, your doubts, any kind of doubts, we will discuss. So React.js interview questions. So important things I'm going to discussing here. First question is frequently entry level people are going to asking. First question is differentiate between a React DOM and virtual DOM. So people are going to asking difference or differentiate between a real DOM and virtual DOM. Virtual DOM. This is the question is frequently people are going to asking. So real DOM means what? Document object model. Document object model means what? HTML structure. HTML root element under that body, header, right? So that structure is three kind of structure is we can call it as a DOM, document object model. Real DOM. Another one is what? Virtual DOM. Virtual DOM. What is the difference? Number one, it updates slowly. That HTML structure updates slowly. Okay. Here it updates faster. That is the difference. Okay. That is the first difference. And second difference is can directly update HTML. Okay. Whereas virtual DOM is cannot directly update HTML. Next, third one is creates a new DOM if elements updates. So whenever you are going to adding any paragraph or something, it is creating a new DOM if element is updated. So here updates the JSX JavaScript XML notation. JSX if elements or if element updates. This is the third difference. And fourth difference is DOM manipulation is very expensive in the real DOM level. DOM manipulation is very expensive. Expensive means memory consumption. Every time it is going to occupy memory. So expensive, very expensive. DOM manipulation is very expensive. Expensive means you are not paying the money. Memory is a valuable one. So that is consuming more. So here DOM manipulation. DOM manipulation is very easy. Another kind of difference is too much of memory wastage. Here too much of memory wastage. Okay, here we are going to providing no memory wastage. So this is the differences. This is the differences you need to understand. This is the one important question. Next, another kind of question is what is a React? What is a React? So here you need to specify a React is a front-end JavaScript library. JavaScript library developed by Facebook. in 2011. Next, another kind of point is one single line is not enough. It follows the component based approach, which helps in building reusable UI components. Another one is uh, it is used for developing complex and interactive web mobile UI. Next, another one is even though it was open sourced only in community supporting available. So these points you need to explain. Next, another kind of question is third question. What are the features of React? What are the features of React? This is the question. So major features you need to explain. Major features of React are we are going to define here. Number one, it uses the virtual DOM instead of the real DOM. Whenever you are going to creating the component, it is going to creating the what virtual DOM. Whenever it is loaded, your component, it is going to create the virtual DOM. Browser level, whatever you are going to see, that is the HTML, real DOM. Component, whenever it is loaded, memory level, it is creating the virtual DOM. So any kind of modifications you are done, first it is recognizing the virtual DOM. That virtual DOM level modification is reflected in the original DOM. So that it is happening, so that entire page is not at all reloading. So updates immediately we are going to see fastest way. So next one is another kind of point is it uses server side rendering. It is created in the one React server port number 3000 based. Something is we are going to modify. It is going to modify the server side. It follows unidirectional data flow or data binding. These are the features you need to explain. So this is the features. Of course, if you want to add more advantages, it can be conveniently used on the client as well as server side. Because of JSX code reusability is increasing. React is easy to integrate with other frameworks like how Angular people are going to using React. Writing UI test cases are become extremely easy. Like that, you can add some more points here. Few points I'm going to mention here. If you want to add, you can add more. But another kind of one is people are going to asking, what are the limitations of React.js? What are the limitations of React? This is the kind of way people are going to ask the questions. Limitations of React are number one, React is just a library, not a full blown framework. So based on that library, you can able to develop the functionality. Everything is not available. Okay. Suppose React routing is required, you need to install the library, right? Axios is required, install library. Okay. It's a library. Is very large and takes time to understand. Next, another kind of limitation is it can be a little difficult for the novice programming or programmers to understand. Okay. And next point is coding gets complex. Coding gets complex as it uses inline template and JSX. So whenever you are going to using render method level code, that code is difficult to understand. Okay, what do you understand by virtual DOM spline like that? People are going to ask. That is the question. Also, sometimes people are going to ask him already explained. A virtual DOM is a lightweight JavaScript object which originally used just a copy of the real DOM. It is a node tree that listed the elements, their attributes, and content as object and their properties. So just I'm going to write the question. Same already discussed this one. Diagrammatically, I will explain this one. What do you understand by virtual DOM? Okay, virtual DOM. Explain it's working. Like that, people are going to ask you. So that is the cases level you need to answer. You need to answer a virtual DOM is a lightweight JavaScript object and originally just a copy of the real DOM. So here basically whenever you are going to run the application, this is the way HTML, this is the header part, body part. Again, it is going to creating somewhere some other kind of paragraph, header, something it is going to creating. This is the way tree structure is creating. This is called DOM. This is called DOM. So if you are going to modify something, it is not reflected directly here. It is going to creating what? Virtual DOM. Whenever any underlying data changes, the entire you use re-rendering normal kind of HTML level. But here virtual DOM level, it is going to re-rendering. So that virtual DOM is connected with real DOM, so that it is going to modify that particular portion only. So that is the way it is going to working. That is the way it is going to working. Okay. But your JS6 is not able to understanding. Only your browser is understanding HTML, not for the render method level code directly. That's why we are going to using index.html. Within that index.js, we are injecting. Within that, we are going to using app.js. Within that, our components we are going to specify. Our components means this is the app.js level. This is one component. This is another kind of component. This is another kind of component. This component is injected with index.js. The index.js is injected to the HTML. That means it is not able to executing directly JSX. Okay. So here question is another kind of question is so that fifth one is answer I'm already explained diagrammatically. Sixth one is why cannot browser read JSX? So browsers can only read JavaScript object, but JSX in not a regular JavaScript object. Thus, to enable a browser to read JSX. Okay. So here first we need to transform JSX file into a JavaScript object using JSX transformers like Babel, and then pass it to the browser. This is the answer you need to explain. So another kind of question is, what do you understand from in React? Everything is a component. Okay, some question is frequently asked. The question is, another kind of question is, what do you understand from in React? Everything is a component. This is the kind of way people are asked the question. So how do you answer this one? Components are the building blocks of a React applications UI. These components split up the entire UI into small independent and reusable pieces. Then it renders each of the components independent of each others without affecting the rest of the AI. Simply, I'm going to say the particular component, if you are going to modify, other components are not disturbed. Okay. So sometimes people are going to asking, explain the purpose of render in React. So another kind of question is, people are going to asking interview question. These are all interview questions. Explain the purpose of a render in React. So each React component must have what? Render, right? It's a mandatory. It runs a single React element, which is the representative of the native DOM component. If more than one HTML element needs to be rendered, then they must be grouped together inside one enclosure. That means div tag level root div tag we are using, or else empty less than greater than you need to provide. Right, within that only one group level we need to provide. This function must kept pure. It must return the same result each time it is invoking. That is the purpose render method. What is the purpose of render method? Each React component must have a render mandatorily. It returns a single React element, which is the representation of the native DOM component. Native DOM component. If more than one HTML, more than one HTML element, more than one HTML element needs to be rendered, then they must be grouped together inside one enclosing tag. Okay, so we are going to using like this, right? Div tag, opening, closing, div tag, or you can use any empty opening and closing empty tag also. We are going to specify at least one. You need to specify that one. Okay, next another kind of one is what is props? What is props? That is the question people are going to asking. What is props? The props is the shorthand for properties in React. They are read-only component which must be kept pure, immutable. Here, props is the shorthand for properties in React. They are read-only components which must be kept pure. Okay, what is the meaning of this one? What is the meaning of this one? Immutable. Here I'm going to providing, this is what? Immutable. They are always passed down from the parent to the child components throughout the application. So parent to child communication level, people are going to use in the props. That is a one line answer. If you want to explain this one, it is consuming the more time, right? So parent to child communication, parent through child, if you want to pass property values, you can the props. Okay.